Earlier on I mentioned management counselling. Companies have good times, companies have bad times. An example of a company having a bad time in recent years has been the company BP, very successful oil company, one of the largest oil companies in the world. And yet a while ago in the Gulf of Mexico, one of their activities there, one of their items at sea was damaged, and oil began to seep from the seabed into the water. That was then driven by the winds into the bays, the coastline along there. It began to damage fish and obviously birds, and obviously the coastline was affected as well. It affected the livelihoods of some of the fishermen, for example. It damaged the economies of those villages along that coastline. This was very damaging to BP, and in fact the United States government got involved, and President Obama actually spoke up against the company. Now this is still ongoing, so I cannot come to a final consideration of this. All I know is that they were hiring that activity from another company. And so when it was found that the pipeline under the sea was defective, is that the fault of BP? Was that the fault of the company that they were hiring from? This is probably still to go to court, so I don't know what the outcome will be. All I do know is it had a detrimental effect on the reputation of BP. And so clearly, when you have a situation like that, in the modern age, what tends to happen is the management of the company, the leading directors, will have a meeting as soon as possible when some activity occurs. They will then call in their PR consultancy and call in the crisis management team of that PR consultancy to discuss ways forward. How can we recover from this extremely negative position? A company with a high reputation, good image, suddenly something's happened to make that reputation fall away dramatically. The media, radio, TV, newspapers were all clearly against the company. How do they react? In the modern age, they tend to use experts involved to help them recover. This cannot be a short-term activity to do with recovery. It has to be a long-term recovery action. Situation that may take 3 or 4 or 5 years of ongoing, sustainable PR activity to help them begin to rebuild their reputation. They can only do this from a position of honesty, being factually correct in putting forward the facts of the matter, being open and honest with the media, and beginning to paint a true picture of events as they unfolded and importantly what they are now doing in the way of recovery action. My understanding is that BP put millions of dollars aside towards helping the recovery program, and that probably has had a knock-on effect in trying to help those people, those fishermen for example, who clearly for a length of time lost their professions. So companies in the modern age have to respond when there is a difficult circumstance which was perhaps outside of their control. Many companies pre-plan for this. The company Shell does what's called scenario planning. They pre-plan for eventualities, and they have their prepared documentation for that. What this can mean, and does mean, is that when a situation such as a catastrophe occurs, they can immediately respond because they can go to their response program, they can look it up online, they can see which program it is and what are the series of steps that they have pre-agreed they would do if and when this situation occurred. And they will put those into action, and they will have PR people 24 hours a day over the next weeks or months to try to have a coordinated program going on and a single voice saying the appropriate things regarding the recovery of what's going on. That they will announce one day what we are doing this day to help the situation recover, then the same person ideally the next day speaking about how things have progressed and how they're moving on. So we'll have a spokesperson, a trained spokesperson, who's comfortable and confident in terms of speaking in front of the media, and that person will explain what the company is doing in the way of a recovery program that has been predetermined and pre-prepared, and they are showing that they are in control of the situation and they're moving into action very quickly. Some companies are now using the media to announce things. So although it's PR, they're using advertising space. They're buying advertisements in publications to allow the guarantee of a PR release to appear word for word, rather than just send it to the media and hope that the editor will decide to include it within the editorial. I'll give you an example there. So that is a PR release on behalf of the company News International. And this company, sadly, in recent times has been discovered that they have been hacking into people's mobile phones. That they have actually been hacking in, probably, you understand now, we wait to hear the full story, they've been hacking into people's email accounts as well. And they have been using that knowledge, which should not have become known to their reporters, and using that in their media coverage. With this outro, it says advertisement, so it does have a heading, but it is a PR release. We are sorry. News of the World was in the business of holding others to account. It failed when it came to itself. We are sorry for the serious wrongdoing that occurred. We are deeply sorry for the hurt suffered by the individuals affected. We regret not acting faster to sort things out. I realise that simply apologising is not enough. Our business was founded on the idea that a free and open press will be a positive force in society. We need to live up to this. In the coming days, as we take further concrete steps to resolve these issues and make amends for the damage they have caused, you will hear more from us. Sincerely, Rupert Murdoch, News International. Since this, of course, he has closed down the publication owned by News International with the title of News of the World. This was the largest selling circulation newspaper in the UK. He's closed this down because of the actions of reporters predominantly previously working for the publication, and editors as well. Many no longer associated. Many of the current staff are not involved in this, but he's closed the publication down because he felt the damage to their reputation of publication was so great that it could not in the future recover from that.